Now, when a consumer uses a card, let's say at a grocery store, let's walk through the process that they go through to make a transaction or a payment. So they walk to the terminal or the till, and it shows the amount that they're meant to pay. They tap or insert the card. The terminal displays an approved message. Within their bank app or their statement, it says as a pending transaction. And then a few days later, that pending transaction turns into a confirmed transaction. Do you know how this works? There's actually a lot that goes in the background, and let's jump into that. So it's important to actually discuss who is involved in card processing. And there's a variety of parties. There's a customer that's using the card. There's a business that's accepting the card. There's a business's bank known as the acquirer. There's a card network that's providing the payment infrastructure. So that's Visa, MasterCard, Amex are examples. And there's a customer bank that's actually sending the payment, known as the issuer. For simplicity's sake, I have not included the payment processor to make it easier. So this works in 3 steps. There's authorize, authenticate, and settle. In authorize, the business is requiring approval from the customer's bank to charge their card. In authenticate, the customer's bank verifies the card information and lets the business know that they can charge the card. In settle, the funds actually move from the customer's account or the customer's bank to the business's bank. Now that's just a high-level overview. In terms of the detailed view, I've broken down what authorize and authenticate and settle looks like. So we'll start with authorize. So the customer goes to the business and is looking to pay. So they pay with card at the business. The business sends the information to the acquirer, which is the business's bank. That bank sends the information to the card network, and the card network sends it to the customer's bank requiring authorization. So this is the initial step. Now comes the authenticate part where the bank, which is the customer's bank, reviews the information and either approves or declines and sends that response to the card network. That response goes to the acquirer, which goes back to the business. And then at the terminal, the sale is either completed or canceled. Again, payment processor has been left out for simplicity. So far in this, the customer was able to pay for their good and they've walked away from the store, but the money has not yet moved. That's what occurs at the settlement phase. So every day, at the end of the day or end of couple days, the business sends a batch of all the approved transactions to their bank. Their bank sends a batch to the card network, and the card network sends it to the customer's banks. Now the customer bank transfers the money intended minus the interchange fee back to the card network. The card network transfers the funds minus their fee, and the bank transfers the funds to the merchant minus their fee. So the merchant doesn't get the full amount, they get a partial amount of what they're owed. And the bank, the customer bank will post a transaction on the customer's account when all of this completes. So that's the reason why transactions appear as pending in your bank account and take a few days to settle. It settles only when funds move from the customer's account to the merchant's account or the business's account. When it comes to processing fees, when you buy something for $100, the business does not get all $100. They have to pay fees. Let's look at what fees are being removed from the $100 of purchase. So $1.80 goes to the customer's bank who issued the card. 15 cents goes to the card network. Around 30 cents goes to the payment processor. The business only ends up getting around $97.95, and they lose anywhere between 2 to 4%. Now these values here, take it with a grain of salt because they vary based on the provider and they're lower on debit cards. So this is just a ballpark number for the processing fees.